If you've been playing Arc Raiders, you'll know it's a pretty great game. It's one of those types of games where, after a long day, you can open up your PC or your console or whatever you play on, boot it up, and just unwind. It's a great mix of calm gaming with all the looting you have to do and the exploration aspect of it, and at the same time, you can find yourself in a lot of situations with action and combat against players, arcs, and tumbleweeds. Tumbleweeds are my biggest enemy in this game. They scare me every time I see them. And if you've seen the numbers too, you know Arc Raiders has done amazingly with rankings. It seems like over 400,000 players log on every day from Steam alone. Now obviously there's a bit of a hype aspect to the insane popularity of this game, since it's a nice refresh from a lot of the games we've seen this year, and the game has its own whole unique atmosphere to it. But I also believe Arc Raiders is doing crazy good for one key reason, and I'm assuming it'll stay doing well for a while because of the same reason. The idea of Arc Raiders and the extraction shooter genre in general is to prep yourself with some items, go into a map, combat an environmental enemy, try to loot, and then extract back home with your loot, or lose everything in the process. Arc Raiders is also releasing at the same point in time that Battlefield and Call of Duty are releasing, so they essentially have to compete with the two games. Or actually, if we even say that Call of Duty is beyond mid this year, then Arc Raiders is at the least competing with Battlefield, which raised a ton of records in just a little over a month. Players from games like Battlefield and Call of Duty want PvP in their gaming, so Arc Raiders definitely advertised the PvP aspect of the game and the choice of being able to be friendly or hostile to other players. They also integrated the PvP in a great way that it didn't overshadow the main enemy of the game, being the different types of Arc, which gave the perfect place for both players who prefer the PvE aspect and those who prefer PvP. Arc Raiders integrated the PvP and presence of players so well into the ambience of the game, with the maps being ruined cities in this post-apocalyptic world, that the PvP doesn't feel out of place or forced to. So basically, the reason Arc Raiders is so popular is that it positioned itself as a game that has something for everyone, and I think that's really going to help the longevity of the game. Every part of the game has something for some sort of player, even beyond just the PvE or PvP. For example, the game has outstanding graphics, which is perfect for the player who games for ambience and environment's sake. And really, one of the most exciting things in this game can be unlocking new maps and just getting to explore them. And a lot of players notice certain graphical declines and differences between things like the playtests and the actual games, since Arc Raiders made their game more suited for average player graphics systems. That way, it can look good on any device. A lot of games that release these days just like to boast about having these crazy good graphics, but they just bust up your system in the process and give you horrible frame rates. At that point, you just lower the settings and can't experience one of the main selling points of the game anymore. I thankfully haven't felt that in Arc Raiders, and it's made it a really nice experience to be able to have a decent frame rate while still having some really nice graphics. And it's a very expansive game too. I mean, the lore of the game is insane. It's got good world building, which you can see just keeps expanding the more they add maps and updates. You know, it honestly makes me wonder how the game is gonna look in a couple years if they really are planning to keep it updated for a decade or more. It's awesome to see how all the different maps have different loot suited to them as well. Like how in the Buried City map, you're much more likely to find random trinkets and residential items than in a lot of the other maps. Arc Raiders has also made itself really accessible for anyone with a different playstyle. I like to play solo pretty often, and it's nice that you can play against solo players and not get put against overpowered squads. And it's the same vice versa too. It's really easy to hop into the game with a squad and have some fun with friends, or even join random players in squads. The proximity chat function also makes it pretty easy to get around and communicate with players. And if you can't use proximity chat, there are the emotes already given away with basic necessary lines like communicating if you're friendly or not. This game really is just accessible for everyone. And one of the most appealing parts of this game is how it's great for casual players. In a lot of other games, you can easily just get squashed by some player who's been able to play like 200 hours in 3 days somehow, and getting outskilled can add a huge barrier to entry for many games, especially the really popular ones. But in Arc Raiders, because maps are locked behind certain rounds played, played, players are forced to really understand the game and get better at it. So, by the time you've unlocked a map with more desirable loot, you'll be able to fight off the people queuing that map as well, since you'll have at least a basis of expertise in the game. It's really just well done. To add to that point of casual players as well, I think this game's progression system also makes it really accessible for a lot of different players. I mean, traditionally I find that any sort of multiplayer game has the progression system of just play a bunch, unlock a bunch of things, and be better than other people, or play a bunch and get really good at the game enough to take out any sort of new player. In Arc Raiders though, there's so many systems of progression over just one main idea of just getting better at the game. You have the progression of, well, knowledge about the game. That's in the sense of maybe knowing what to recycle, what to sell, how to use your resources, what weapons fit your playstyle best, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, really a lot of the progression in the game comes with exploring different parts of it. There's the workshop section of the game for that, where you have your awesome chicken Scrappy, and then you learn to craft your own sorts of weapons and medical supplies and everything. And there's the traders with their shops for the players who've either got a lot of leftover coins or don't feel like getting the materials to make their own supplies. The game also does have small plot lines in the form of quests. These quests let you try out different weapons, advance in the game, and also give some pretty neat rewards, so they're always worth completing. And if you're into more daily leveling up and challenges, the game also has what's called feats, which are just daily challenges that refresh every day. And if you realize with all these factors, the game really is great in shaping itself for different playstyles. Someone who prefers throwable weapons, for instance, can use those mainly in combat. Similarly, if a player likes a certain gun or something, they can work on upgrading that and making it their main sort of weapon. The idea of the augments themselves that are in every loadout is great because they let you detail exactly what playstyle you want. Basically, the game is made for everyone and has something for every sort of gamer. There's also so many ways to progress and learn to progress through the game, which makes it super accessible for anyone to hop on, play for a bit, and still leave the game feeling like they progressed. And the constant recurring danger of those arc enemies too, and being put in situations with newer, scarier ones the more difficult the map gets, just leaves a lot more to be discovered in the extraction shooter genre aspect of the game. Personally, even though I would have never played a game like Arc Raiders, it's a game that I actually really enjoy playing and discovering more. What do you think though? Do you like playing Arc Raiders because it's accessible? Did you find it hard to play? What are your thoughts on the game so far?